I was doing a bunch of research. I was like, okay, I really still want to travel. I want to explore. I don't want to subject myself to the traditional path that I've been taught. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For this video, as you could tell by the title, I am sharing how I moved abroad to Spain and how I basically got paid to do it. But before we jump into this video, I want to share that this video is a part of a series that I've been creating called On My Terms. On My Terms is basically an interview series where I basically sit down with people and have conversations with them on how they're building a life of alignment and how they're living alternative lifestyles. And so if you're interested in that, go follow me on Substack. I will leave the link down below, and also I will link the interview series because a lot of the videos are uploaded under Aliyah Inspired YouTube channel, so I created a whole separate playlist for that. And so go check that out if you're interested in diving deeper into this world of alternative living and stuff like that, because I really think it's important to be exposed to different lifestyles just to see what resonates, what doesn't resonate, and so you can have the best informed decision on how you want to create your life. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump right into this video. I first want to start off with giving a little background, and if you wanted to jump ahead to how I actually did this, I'll leave the timestamp below, but I just want to share a bit of background on how I kind of found this way to move abroad and how it's going. And so I am from Mississippi, as some of you know, and I actually studied out of state at San Diego State University. And throughout college, I always knew that I wanted to kind of build a life that was different from what I saw in my hometown, because I grew up in a small town and it's kind of like already a blueprint they kind of hand you in this town. Not saying that everyone follows it, and I'm not saying that like I am a unicorn in this town. I know a lot of people who actually left this town and are building beautiful lives that go against the blueprint that we have been handed. But basically in my small town, it's very common for you to kind of graduate high school and go to college, and there you are kind of encouraged to find the love of your life, and after that get married, have kids, get the 9-to-5, get the house and stuff like that. So very American dream-esque, you know, blueprint. And so growing up, I was kind of influenced by that blueprint, but at the same time, I was also learning and was exposed to different lifestyles on YouTube, because I was always on YouTube. And so I was watching people like Sorella Moore. I didn't start watching Damon Dominique until college, but he still influenced me a lot. And I was watching Living Big in a tiny space or tiny house or something like that. And I was just getting exposed to different lifestyles that went against like the white picket fence, the have a kid and a big family, get married and all that other stuff. I was watching people who were traveling and like living in tiny homes and doing van life and stuff like that, backpacking around the world. And so I was really exposed to that while also trying to find my place when it came to the blueprint that I was handed. And so it wasn't until it was time to decide to go to college that I was like, okay, I think I need to take myself out of this environment just to really explore what I want. And so I went to California, and that's when things really changed for me, because you meet a lot of different people from different walks of life when you leave a tiny town. And so when you leave the environment that created the old version of you, it's easier to create a new version of you. And so that's what I was doing when I went to college. Throughout college, I kind of was already laying the foundation of creating a life that integrated travel and creativity and stuff like that, because those are things I found that I valued. And so senior year came around, and the big question, what are you going to do next, came up. Initially, I was like, okay, I'll just go get a job. I didn't want to move back home, but that was the only option at that time. And so I was like, okay, I'll go home and try to find my footing in this next chapter, because at that point in my head, I was like, my only option is to kind of find a job and kind of follow that path of like working and then eventually moving out and stuff like that. But when I moved back home and was trying to find my footing, I was doing a bunch of research. I was like, okay, I really still want to travel. I want to explore. I don't want to subject myself to the traditional path that I've been taught. And so that's when I found this platform called Worldpackers. That's not how I moved to Spain. Okay, we're getting there, don't worry. And Worldpackers is basically a volunteer. It's basically a platform that connects you with different volunteer hosts around the world, and you go and you volunteer at these sites in exchange for like housing, food, and stuff like that. And it's a really great way to travel on a budget. You don't get paid because it's voluntary, but I felt like that was a great step for me just to kind of get back out of the environment that I left at 18 to go to college. And so I did that for 2 to 3 months, and then I came back home. I was like, okay, what's next? Because I didn't want to do more Worldpackers. I don't want to keep volunteering. I need to make money somehow, and I still want to move abroad. Like, that has always been in the back of my head because I studied abroad in London back in 2022. And I was like, I want to go back. I loved Europe so much. I was like, I don't care what country I go to, I just want to go back. And so one day I remember I was just on YouTube and I was just researching a bunch of stuff. And I remember at that point, I ended up texting a friend that I met in London because she mentioned an au pair type thing that you could do in Spain because that's what she did, or she had a friend that did that. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna look into that. And as I was looking into that, I found this program called NALCAP. And so this is where things get interesting and where things take a turn. And so I went down a deep dive on this program called NALCAP, and NALCAP stands for North American Language and Culture Assistance Program. It's a Spanish government program that places North Americans in public schools in Spain. And so in this program, you're basically working as a English assistant called an auxiliar de conversación, and you're basically working part-time in a school, depending on where they place you, because you can't really decide which school you want to go to. All you can decide is like what region you want to go to. You can't select whether you're in a big or small school or medium-sized school. You can't pick what city you're in. And so it's really a gamble if you want to try it. With this program, you do get paid a monthly stipend. It's not a big amount. It's not a big amount. It's not a large income, but it does sustain you for living in Spain, getting the necessities, and kind of traveling around and exploring. And depending on what region, it does range. So in my region, I'm in Valencia, and we get paid 1,000 euros a month. But I know in other regions, it's about 800, 900. It really just depends. And with this, you do receive a student visa. That's how you are able to stay and work in this program. And the requirements are super easy. You don't need to speak fluent Spanish, but a little bit of Spanish is a plus because it'll help you get around, especially when you first move there. And you don't need a real traditional job lined up, which is the great thing about this. I feel like this is a great stepping stone if you want to move abroad and if you want to try things out. And so if you want to know more about NALCAP and what's required, what to expect, I made a whole Substack on that as well. But I feel like I just shared like the basics of this program. It's like you have to apply. Usually applications open around March or April. And so that's why I really want to make this video soon, because if you want to apply, applications should be opening soon. And I should also mention that the program starts in September and ends in May. So it's only a few months that you'll be working, but you also have the chance to renew in the program. This is my second year as an English language assistant, and I'm at the same school because I liked it so much. I liked the town that I was staying in, and so I just renewed at the same school. It's not guaranteed that you would get the same school or even get placed again, but most people, when they're renewing as a second year, they do get placed. So I'm pretty sure I shared all of that. If you guys want me to make a separate video on like getting down to the nitty gritty on like finding a apartment in Spain, this is my dog, finding an apartment in Spain, making friends and stuff like that, and more of my experience, then let me know. Just to close out this video, I do want to share that NALCAP has opened so many doors for me. It has been a great experience so far. I really feel like NALCAP was an avenue for me to finally start building a life abroad. And if you're like me, this is a great way to start doing that, because I feel like a lot of people think that travel and moving abroad has to look one way. Like you have to wait until you have a certain amount of savings saved up for you to really start exploring, or I have to have this job lined up before I could really like go for it. I feel like programs like NALCAP and also things like I did with Worldpackers, these are alternative ways to do exactly that right now on a budget. Getting paid is mainly just shifting that mindset of, oh, it has to look one way, it has to be one way, and being open to getting yourself to where you want to go in different ways. Hey, did you enjoy this video? If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below for new videos. And I want to know in the comments what terms are required for you for life to feel and look authentic to you. Okay, see you in the next episode. Bye.